fight fans, Johnny Faraće here, and I'm joined by the president of BYB Extreme Fighting Bare Knuckle, Mr. Mike Vazquez. How are you, my man?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You are a man of many things. You're a serial entrepreneur. You've definitely made your way in many different things. In the sports world, I know you're known as one of the very first Hispanic NASCAR team.
Well, we started HRT Motorsports, and we focused on diversity. It was called HRT Motorsports, short for Hispanic Race Team. And we took that over to Mexico and created what is now known as NASCAR Mexico back in 2002. So that's where the experience came as far as putting something together and a series and developing it. So we actually started that from scratch, and it became the #1 form of motorsports in Mexico and South America.
For a sport like that to be introduced to a whole new fan base is something that you created, and you actually did very well with it. Won races and definitely moved along.
Oh yeah, that's what the project was about. It was about turning Mexican and Hispanic race fans that liked open wheel racing, turn them into NASCAR fans, show them what NASCAR racing was about. And that's somewhat what we're trying to do here with BYB is take combat sports fans, MMA, boxing, people who already have a genuine love for the combat sport, and teach them more about bare knuckle. The fact that the gloves were meant to protect the hands, not the head. And even new fans, once they get in there and they hear that first knuckle on face thump. You can hear the gasp in the audience. It's real. It's a real fight.
It is absolutely a real fight. And kind of going back to the way you got to where you are. I know that you were always thinking outside the box, as you just mentioned. Now this kind of a new branch sport in the combat fight world. I know back in the day you had a chance meeting with Pitbull in an airport in Mexico. Just kind of to speak to your diversity. Speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was actually coming back from a NASCAR Mexico race. We partied a little too hard the night before. Me and my buddy Carlos Contreras, who's one of our drivers, and I missed my flight. I actually ended up rerouted through Mexico City instead of direct. And sure enough, sitting across from me in an empty, airport, pretty much, was Pitbull, who I had known over the years, but I had lost touch with him for the 3 or 4 years prior to that. And got us a chance to get reacquainted, and we started hanging out again and doing different things. I started doing promotions for him on our NASCAR Mexico vehicle. So every album cover was the car for that race was dressed up just like the album. And an associate of his that ended up becoming a friend of mine as well, and Pepe Suris is now my partner in BYB. That's how I met Dada 5000. Pepe, Jose Suris, my partner, came up to me one day, and he told me he was familiar with my background in NASCAR and what we had done to promote NASCAR in Mexico, and started a series from scratch. Told me he wanted to show me some videos and introduce me to somebody and see if anything came up to me or if I saw opportunity in developing something exciting. So I did. I saw some of the videos, some of which I was already familiar with from the old backyard. It got around pretty well. And and then I met Dada 5000. I remember we went to Monty's. Was the first time I met with Dada. We had a feast and we talked about anything and everything. And that right there, I met Dada. I saw what a great guy he genuinely is. It wasn't what I expected. I'm going to meet the godfather of backyard fighting, from Perrine,
He'd be like a really guy that wanted to tear you apart. He's a nice, really likable guy that's approachable. And
he is. He's a nice guy that could tear you apart, but he's a genuinely nice guy, and we got along great. So, right there at our dinner, we drew up our logo. We came up with BYB. We drew up our logo, the fist, the triangle. We saw Dada had been fighting in a triangle. He had already converted his backyard into a triangle ring. But it was 12 feet by 12 feet by 12 feet, which I told him was just going to be a little bit too small to take what he had, which I did think was a diamond in the rough, polish it and create, something legal, legit, and that we could really get behind and promote. So we took it a little further. Our cage is 18 feet, 3 equal sides of 18 feet. Our ring is 3 equal sides of 22 feet. And our fight at the Hard Rock on March 7th was we debuted our triangle ring.
The Trigon.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And in that ring, it actually has 4 or a fifth rope option, so we can actually do MMA in that ring as well.
Okay.
And we were just testing different things. We think it gives a little bit more visibility for the fans. It's a little bit bigger, as well. I think the cage is real menacing, it's and everything else.
I can give you my take on it. As a big boxing fan anyway, I think it's way better than the cage. The cage obstructs and you can kind of not see a lot. There's not a lot of stuff going on against the cage, that they really need all that. I like it being open. And you know what? To keep it true to the backyard brawls, that's exactly how it looks. And I love how it evolved into the mighty Trigon it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think the perception or the feedback from everybody was that the ring was definitely a winner that evening.
It was cool. I loved it. And from my perspective, again, I'm a boxer, an amateur boxer. I spent most of my life inside of a square boxing ring. And when I saw that triangle and those 60-degree corners, I really pictured it as a fighter and sitting there and trying to get out of that corner when it's like this instead of this. That's a whole different idea. So your guys' idea of getting all the action to the middle of the ring and the all action.
It's a fight circle. You either step up and fight inside the circle, or you find yourself in one of the triangle corners. So it really does promote confrontation. It promotes resolution, so we can keep the fights in the hands of the fighters and not the judges. It's all what we're about, is bringing the best of all the combat sports into one sport. And we feel bare knuckle is that, but not only bare knuckle in our triangle ring. Because, when are the fight fans on their feet? When the guys are engaged. When they're clinching or one fighter's running around, everybody's bored. When they see a fighter fighting for points, fighting for the judges, not fighting to finish the fight, MMA, same thing. When the guys are engaged, standing on everybody's loving it. There's a few, and rightfully so, that, jiu-jitsu and all that, ground game is fantastic. But that's a small part of it.
That stand up, and that's where all the action is. So you got those crossover fans from both sides that like all stand up. Let's not call it boxing or MMA. Let's call it stand up.
Correct.
Those that love to stand up are all those type of people. Now you got your own audience that you're bringing. And
correct. And our rules really. I mean, we fought under Florida rules, but our goal is to have standing 8-limb fighting, meaning punching, elbows, knees, and kicks, all allowed. No ground game. You could do standing chokes, standing stuff like that. If something goes to the ground, the referee stands you up right immediately. If somebody, if you hit somebody and they go down, there's no jump and pound on them. There's a standing 8 count. So we'd like to do more, almost kind of Muay Thai, 8-limb, and offer both. So we can have some for the boxing, candidates that don't want to do 8 limbs. We'll have some bare knuckle boxing, and then we can have our bare knuckle 8-limb as well. Correct.
Right. Okay. So that's the evolution of where you guys are headed.
Correct.
Beautiful.
All in the same night. We did a little bit of that in Wyoming. We did, what was it? We did 9 bare knuckle boxing matches, and we did 2 MMA matches in Wyoming. Wow. But the MMA at the time, we needed to use gloves because Wyoming hadn't passed the rule. Right. So, but yeah, we're working with states, and we're trying to bring fans, action.
Let's talk about those gloves real quick, because the huge misconception from the mild fighting fan is that the gloves are there to protect the opponent's head while they get hit, rather than the one wearing the hand. But the reality of it is that they protect the hand and all the many bones that are inside the hand. So now bare knuckle boxing, going back to the original days, talk a little bit about how now it has evolved into the way you wrap the hands or the gloves or whatnot.
Right, well, absolutely right. The gloves were made to protect the hands by a promoter back in the 1800s who wanted fighters to punch more to the head because fans wanted more headshots. Until that point, some bare-knuckle fights went dozens of rounds because it was just a lot of body punches and there wasn't that killer headshot. So what they wanted to do is they want to have more headshots, more exciting. So they had to start padding the knuckles, padding the hands until they evolved into gloves. So in today's day and age, when a running back can't lower his head, when a quarterback can barely be touched, and we're looking at concussions and head injuries, and children now in soccer leagues can't head the ball until a certain age or something like that. So why not look at it in our combat sports? Right. Why do fights have to go 600 punches thrown, 400 landed, 200 of those to the head, when our bare knuckle fights are more exciting? They go 5 rounds. Yeah, we do 3-minute rounds in our bare knuckle league, But there are 5 rounds, up to 7 maximum. With championship fights can go up to 7. And in those punches, maybe it's 50 punches thrown, maybe it's 30 landed, maybe it's 12 to the head. But they're more exciting than just seeing a bunch of jab, 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 jab. That it's not doing any short-term damage, but it's just that long-term damage that's in effect. So we have gloves though that we came up with, which do protect your wrist and part of the hand up to about an inch from the knuckle and the thumb area. Fighters really liked them. They said really supported the hand, small little bones here in the bottom of your hand into your wrist. And those are required, or some glove is required currently in Florida, at least 4 ounces. So that's what we went with. In Wyoming, we didn't have any gloves, just wraps. But we actually like the gloves, and if we got good feedback, we'll probably carry those forward regardless, moving forward.
Excellent. So let's talk about your athlete pool and how you are populating your league with athletes for the different weight divisions. I'm assuming you're having to pull from the boxing and from MMA and from that other little circle of just those crazy MFs out there that just like to throw, So how are you working with the matchmaking and kind of populating your athlete pool so that you can or the struggles of the matchmaking, if any, if so, I'm sure.
Sure. Well, we have a great matchmaker, Stacy Hunt. She just got married. Now she's Stacy Allen. So congratulations to her and her husband, Tracy. But we have a great matchmaker. She pulls, and it's a little bit tough when you start talking bare knuckle and you're educating these guys, who think automatically their hands are going to get hurt. But it's all about strategy. It's all about the right punch, the right time. You're not going to see guys throwing wall punches that hitting the top of the head. So it's fighters have to have a little bit of patience to it. But it was tough in the beginning. Now, once you had your first few events and people see what it is, now we're getting a lot of interest from both on the boxing side and the MMA side. We got a bunch of crazy guys that love the street fighting also, and are sending us requests. In Florida, you need to have 5 amateur fights before you can turn pro. So we are, working with people who have history. A lot of our guys from the former backyard also fought, like Rene Whiteboy Rodriguez and Jomi and Mike Trujillo. So they had Florida boxing licenses. So we have a little bit of everything. But we're trying to give young guys, new guys, the opportunity, more so, and trying to bring in more people into the sport.
Absolutely, and I think you're going to be very successful in that. The more you get exposed, you guys are exposed, and the sport is exposed to the other, boxing and MMA. There are very lean lanes in both of those. As UFC, there are a lot of frustrated good MMA fighters that are just not getting the opportunity that may then take this opportunity. And in boxing, you have to be an elitist in boxing. You have to have, you have to start from a very young age to fight. Very few fighters, start late in life or whatever. But what your league has is the opportunity for a lot of those great athletes out there that may not have gotten the opportunity to put themselves at the top, 10%. You guys can take those and turn it into your entertainment, which is BYB Extreme Fighting.
Absolutely, and they can take what they've learned from us, or even some of the fame and notoriety that they get from the bare knuckle fighting, and parlay that back into their other. So, we got guys like Leo Pla. He's a great fighter, great guy. I love the guys from Denver. He's fought all over the world. He's a kickboxing champion in the Netherlands. He's fought MMA in other parts of Europe. So he cross trains. He does a little bit of everything, and he loves his bare knuckle fighting. He loves the triangle cage. We got a little bit of everything. We're happy to be expanding on that. We've talked to guys, even like, Shannon Briggs, who came to our event.
Yes.
And wants to get into the Trigon.
Let's talk about that real quick. Let's chat about Shannon, the Cannon Briggs. Me being a huge boxing fan and live, breathe boxing. He was there. I was there that night, by the way. You guys debuted the first combat sports event at the brand new Hard Rock Live at the new Hard Rock Guitar Hotel. Beautiful place. It was awesome.
Happy, like you said, the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel Casino, beautiful place. We debuted. We're very proud of that. Dot and myself, we're both from South Florida. We consider ourselves a South Florida property, than BYB, and what better place to have our event than at the premier place for entertainment in South Florida. So we're really, really proud of that. We had a lot of people come out, not only Shannon, but Glenn Johnson, John David Michael. A lot of people were out there, and they enjoyed the action. Shannon actually climbed into the ring, had a little few words with Dada, there about his thoughts on the Trigon. You were there, you saw it. He loved the action. He loved there's nowhere to run. He could punch through people, not have to chase them around, for a few minutes. So he was excited about that, and we are in conversations with him. We're a young league, so we focused, like I was talking a little bit about before, on giving younger fighters opportunities. With hungry guys give great results. A lot of times you get guys that were at the top of their game a few years ago and something else. They come in and they're you don't know what you're going to get. It could be a mixed bag. Shannon, you're not going to have that. Shannon is a beast. Shannon's going to come and punch right through somebody. So we'd love to be able to work something out with him. And we are in conversations. We're trying to be creative with what we can do and do it right, so it's right for everybody. But that'll be an interesting evening if we can get to see Shannon in that Trigon.
Oh yeah, and he would certainly add to the entertainment level that you guys had. That was one thing I'd like to definitely point out. It was exciting. The show was exciting. I've been to hundreds and thousands and hundreds of boxing events, live professional events. Many of them can be kind of snoozers. Long breaks, boring intermissions. You guys, you kept the flow going all night. It was fun. It was, the ring walks were great. The ring announcer Jazz was great. When you watch back on Fight TV, the commentators, boxer Marine Shea, who's one of the commentators, it was really, really great entertainment. Speak a little bit about that vision.
Yeah, everybody. Jazz did a fantastic job. It was his first time working with us. Same thing with Maureen. Great job. Rusi and Racy, Dada's brothers, were color on neither side of her all evening, and then you guys will see that broadcast on Fight TV in a couple days, weeks. So that was a lot of fun. For us, it was all about that. We're at the Hard Rock. It's about entertainment. It's about having fans enjoy their evening. We don't want to bore people there and have 10 minutes, 15 minutes between fight and fight. I'm a fight fan. I hate when I'm somewhere and I see that. I mean, you're like looking at your drink, just getting watered down.
Yes.
Everybody's looking at each other, looking for something to do. And then you finally see the fighter walk in, and then that's still another 10 minutes before the fight starts.
Right.
So what we tried to do was really speed things up, have one fight ready as soon as the other one was over. The DJ was involved. The girls were throwing T-shirts. Dada was interviewing the fighters, getting everybody. I mean, we tried to keep that action so when the last fight was over, people would be wanting more. People would be wanting to walking out of that Hard Rock Live into the casino venue, into the bar, and say, you know what, it's early, I'm up, let's have fun, let's go to the bar, let's go dance, and let's play some, and really be good partners of the Hard Rock that way and show them that South Florida, we do have a good audience. We just have to get them out there and get a good product in front of them. It's not about the purist, we're trying to grow the fan base, just like we did like in NASCAR, we try to grow that fan base, get more fans involved in the sport, and as, promoter yourself, instead of something we're trying to impose with other promoters is working together. Yep. How can we work together to cross-promote our events, to cross-promote, to grow a fan base, so we're not picking after the same, few thousand fans, but we're actually growing that fan base. Twofold, threefold, year over year. So if we do that, then everybody's wins. The fans get to enjoy. The promoters get to bring on good fights. Fighters get more opportunities. So it's a snowball effect, and it's going to take a little while, but that's our goal for South Florida. Yep. And hopefully it'll snowball into other areas.
Well, you know what? You actually have a gift for the world. So I know you work with Fight TV, as do we. And you guys are actually going to offer your original Brawl BYB that was in Shannon, Wyoming, I believe. You're going to be offering that free upcoming very soon on Fight TV.
Yes, we're working with Fight TV. They're going to be removing the fee on our Brawl for It All from Wyoming for last year. So fans can enjoy that this week. And then I don't have the exact date yet. Normally you release a fight on a Friday or Saturday, but it seems like every day feels like Friday or Saturday.
Right now, wow, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they could release it on a Tuesday for all I know. But we will be releasing Brawl 3, Brawl at the Rock, which was the fight we're talking about at the Seminole Hard Rock. It was an exciting night. We had great guy fights, Christine Stanley Knuckles with Sheena Starr and a girl fight. I mean, really exciting night, and that'll be released the following week.
Awesome. So what will be the date of the Cheyenne? What's the release date of that one?
I gotta get hopefully right away early this week, like Monday or Tuesday.
This upcoming week, okay. So you guys have a gift. BYB has a gift for all those quarantine locked in people. While they're locked in, they can pull up Fight TV and they can watch your original BYB event and see what it's all about.
Correct. Yeah, that was in the triangle cage, which was a lot of fun. I mean, it came into play. You had some guys throwing Superman punches coming right off the fencing and whatnot. Nice. So it was a fun one. It was a wild night. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. We had 11 fights that evening and some incredible knockouts. Some of the guys that you'll see in that fight fought in Hard Rock and are part of an 8-man tournament. Which we're now down to 4 men at the 185-pound division for our first belt that we're giving out.
Beautiful. And then you'll add as like a little additive to your gift to watch how your league is evolving. You're also going to then offer the BYB 3 that we just saw, the Brawl at the Rock. 3, you're going to offer that as a discount.
Yeah, basically our first fight free, the second fight at the Hard Rock for $10 or less. And we're trying to, we're conscious of the situation everybody's working through. Hopefully, our government gets to work and gets the aid out to the people who need it, as soon as possible. So, but that's our first concern right now is just making sure everybody's safe at home, doing what they got to do. Those of us deemed essential, continue to work carefully, social distancing. We'll get through this. We've gone through much worse. So that's the initial goal. And then, once this is over, we're going to be announcing our date. Right now, it's tentatively in July for Brawl 4 at the Rock, and we have some fallback dates in case things don't clean up as soon as we'd like them to. But it should be at the end of July.
Awesome, beautiful. So let everybody know how to get how to find you guys and be in touch.
Well, our social media is all hashtag BYB Extreme. That's Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook, we're BYB Extreme Fighting Series. Myself, I'm on Instagram. I'm not too good on that stuff, but I'm BYB Mike. And Dada 5000 is the real Dada 5000, just about everywhere. That's his, you'll find him.
He's a character, man. He's great. All right. So,
I should mention, if you go to our website, which we're updating whatnot, but we've left the link, our first fight, it was called Battleship. Back in 2015. It's on there. It's for free. You guys can enjoy it. It's a hell of a night. That is 8 limbs. That's not just bare knuckle. That is legs, knees, and kicks allowed. So you can get an idea of that. That's up for free on our website. That's bybextreme.com.
You guys are giving it all away.
Well, we want to show people. We want to show people what we have and really
that's why you should. Beautiful samples.
Help us entertain ourselves here in the meantime.
Yes, speaking of which, what are you doing to keep busy during the quarantine?
We had to organize that fight. We really had a short amount of time with a lot of players, a lot of new things, new relationships with us in the Hard Rock. We had 6 weeks to put it together, so those 6 weeks went crazy. I didn't get a chance to work out too much. During this period, my main business is still open, so I'm working, Monday through Friday, limited hours, a little shorter hours, but I'm getting back to working out again. I'm doing two-a-days. Just bored out of my mind here with my wife. My kids are all grown up, so it's just me, her, and the dog. So, just exercising and eating.
I like it. All right, Mike Vazquez, the president of BYB Extreme Fighting. Great chatting with you, my man.
Thank you, brother. Enjoy. Have a good week. Be safe.
You too. We'll talk soon.